Hello and welcome to another Nimble video tutorial. Season 4. I've got a lot to show, a lot to cover, so I'm going to get right into it. I ended Season 3 with a really cool video what I thought about NodeJS. It featured one of the authors of NodeJS, and one of his regrets is that he did not develop interfaces for Node, and how managing the dependencies and changes that are coming in the future can be a burden on the product and project. So for Season 4, we're going to be moving to the back end and looking at Node.js and support for Node.js and building servers using the builder design pattern and Nimble solutions. Building software to solve an immediate problem is only the first step in development. Developing interfaces and considering the future of your project is very important. Interfaces are all about looking ahead. One, it allows you to break down the solution into modules and logical steps. And two, it's the ability to look at how you can undo your solution for a better one in the future. Building interfaces forces the developer to admit that his immediate solution is flawed and lacking because it does not accommodate for change in the future. So in Season 4, we will continue this journey and apply the builder design pattern to the back-end Node.js server solutions. Before I get into the back-end support, I want to give you a look at some of the quick changes that I added to the IDE, most of which is eye candy. When working in Node.js and building my prototype server, one of the first things I really concentrated on was encryption and security. So I took the time to import crypto.js at the library, a drag drop library for the nodes, for the Nimble solution IDE. I broke down the crypto.js into its individual components so that you don't have to bring in the whole library. You can bring in only the encryption that you want and then use it accordingly. Spent some time improving how the JavaScript front end interacts with the Electron native code so that it runs seamless as a Windows application. As promised, I improved the code editor, better syntax highlighting, a better color scheme. I like the dark background with blue to go along with the theme. Added the code folding, just a really nice, a lot of nice eye candy, just so that using the IDE is more pleasant than it once was. Allows for better code editing. Once those changes were made, I started to really dive into Node.js. So today, I'm going to give you a quick look at a high-level view of my server design. And I want to have a few talking points on some articles that I found on the web or that were passed on to me. First article that I found was about the mythical 10x programmer or 10x developer. It's the theory that there are developers out there that can develop or create at 10 times the efficiency as the average programmer. Now, I don't know if I qualify as one of these guys. I know that I'm efficient. I know that I can full stack build anything that I want. There's pretty much nothing on the computer that I haven't seen or played around with, at least, just from hacking around on the internet, finding people's code samples and then digging into some research or some reading books on my own, just to get a general understanding of how the architecture works behind it from a coding aspect. One of the best things that I saw when reading some of these articles about the 10x developers is this great piece of code, great caption that's bold-faced in this blog. It's not about writing more code, it's about writing the right code. You become a 10x programmer not by doing an order of magnitude more work, but making better decisions an order of magnitude more often. I think that's really critical because it's really not about me pounding away to build a lot of code. And sometimes that is the case, and you'll see that when you see what I've built with Node.js. But just being smart enough to know to make right decisions. The right decisions are decisions that don't box you into a corner or in the long run make more work for you down the road. Another article, people were, if you could search Quora, people were talking about the truth about 10x developers, and you can read some responses of how people describe them. They call them unicorns. I thought that was kind of funny. Last but not least, when I started building this NodeJS server, I was going to build a single instance server, but then I said, maybe I'll build a prototype for a worldwide server that's scalable. And I just wanted to serve up, I went to search for how many servers will require to serve the world, so to speak. How many servers needed to host 20 million users, what I found on Quora. And then there was a really neat breakdown. A guy, I believe his first one, he talked about it's not really about the number of servers, but the number of requests you want to handle per second. And I think he calculated to about 1,974 servers for 20 million users, depending on the requests per second. I thought that was a really good way to, really good information on how you scale and what you plan for when you design something. So I use those numbers in my design for the server that I'm going to show you now. So how about a nice little diagram? This diagram shows you some of the code of how I built my Node.js server. Of course, brought in a Crypto.js, Express, all the cool stuff that you expect with Node.js. And then my reusable builder design pattern libraries. I used the strings.js, utils.js, and then I crafted auth.js simultaneously with the front-end client auth factory. So as I was literally building both split screen, both of those libraries side by side, so that I knew that I wasn't creating any errors and I wasn't opening any security issues as I, authored the client-side functions and methods that map to the back-end server-side methods. The unique part about this design is that I included a plugins interface. And then once I created that plugins interface, I started to get carried away with the interfaces. The interfaces then led to me to building news chat room, and then a comm plugin, connections plugin, and a notifications plugin. These three plugins would be any type of feature that you see on any website: news posting, chat rooms, posting messages like on Facebook. It's a plugin that would handle that work. That data is pushed to a backend server database. But then me and my lovely desire for interfaces, rather than connect to a SQL Server Oracle database, I included a layer, a DBI layer, database interface layer, so that you are seamlessly communicating to the DBI and it will write to the database of your choice. And the beauty of this layer, I'm going to show you later in my videos, it allows you to migrate from one database design to another, or database form to another seamlessly. I use Loki.js as an in-memory database. It's very similar. It has a very similar querying syntax to Node. And within the DBI layer, I wrote a Node, a MongoDB Loki.js query to SQL query translator, so that anything that you've created to search, rewrite in Loki.js will migrate to SQL Server or MySQL seamlessly. Communications plugin is the guy that keeps your servers communicating with each other back in. And the connection module is a user-controlled communications plugin to allow one-on-one peer-to-peer connection across multiple servers. The Notify plugin is the guy that talks back to the client. Anything that happens here can send a message to the Notify plugin, and it makes sure it gets back to the client. This is a design for one single instance server that will be included in the Nimble IDE platform. Simply by copying or multiple instances of the server, they will connect to a home server and on a secret channel, talk and communicate between themselves. This allows you to scale this server, hopefully 2,000 times without an issue, and they should all talk and map and stay up to sync and synchronize and stay up to date with users and information without you doing a single thing as a user. It should be self-maintaining. I took the time to also add support for updates and support. If you deploy your first node on your server cluster is your parent node, so to speak. If you deploy a piece of JavaScript that fails, it will instantly detect the JavaScript error and roll back. It will not populate the changes to the other servers. It not only populates messages that the users generate, it will populate the code. If you update or make an improvement to a piece of software or a plugin, the plugin will populate to all the 2,000 or so servers. So today, since this is the first video, I'm going to show you a very quick look at the servers running locally on my machine. I've got 5 directories, all represent complete copies of the server. I have a start all batch file. When I click that batch file, it's literally starting 5 servers. The first server is the home server. They launch and they start communicating with each other. They have taken an update from the parent server that I was just describing to you, and now they're waiting for communications. The servers 2 through 4 will poll server 1. I think it's every maybe 10 minutes, I'm not sure, for updates. And if you make changes, see if I can get them all on the screen here. If you make changes to any of the other servers, they get notified between the two. This is the home server. This is the guy that just manages the connection of who is considered in the cluster. You see the session ID and index 0 through 3 that represents servers 1 through 4. 0 is the starting index. You see all the domain, they're all local hosts and each have an individual port. So to give you a quick look at making an edit and what the servers will do, let's bring in my Notepad++ on half the screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a change. In production on server 1, and we'll grab the news plugin. So server 1, we're looking at server 2 through 4 here. Server 1 is behind this. So if I load the news plugin right here, and let's just make a silly change. It's not a serious change. I'm just gonna add some text to it and then save it down. This is now saved on the server, and you'll see server 2 just updated the news.module plugin. Server 4 just updated the news module.plugin. And server 3 also probably did it. We just missed it. Yeah. So basically I have instantly created self-aware servers that log into home, are aware of each other, and stay up to date between the two with minimal to no work for me. Over the next, this season, I'm going to get into some of the code, talk about how the messaging works, the interfaces between the modules, and then I'm going to link the server design into the Nimble IDE platform so that your front-end client project will have a back-end server project, and you can manage all of this goodness within a pretty IDE. The Nimble Solution, Season 4. I hope you're ready. Thank you for watching.